In progress.
Hi, folks. Good evening. This is going to be a bit of a lengthy update, so I do apologize, but it will be an important one. So we have some downward trend in the Bitcoin play right now. And what you see shortly is here is the price action in the last few hours, and we can actually extend that to over to the last few months, and you'll see it's been in a negative downtrend, right? That's because we are in a cyclical market, which is, in a nutshell, we're still in a uptrend. We're still in, if you zoom out and you look in a terms of a 5-year plan, you're still looking at an upward movement, right? That's the trajectory. So at least the comfort that I want to take away from tonight is knowing that in the long term, or probably short to medium term, you're going to see some volatility, which comes with this asset class, but it's also going to be some really new buyers in town, right? So namely, BlackRock announced in August that they're going to be partnering with Coinbase to buy into this asset class, right? That's a huge deal. So that tells us that right now in the short term, where there's short-term pain, for the last year, it's been not the most impressive market. However, there's still quite a bit of money to be made in this market, although there's been this sort of downturns, right? So a lot of strategists, a lot of traders are looking at this volatility, trying to capitalize. So on the screen right now, you'll see it says here, I'll highlight it, 68,700 roughly. That's the all-time high. Currently, the price is sitting at 18,900. That's quite a bit of a difference when you look at what it did achieve. Currently, the market cap for Bitcoin is under $500 billion, so that's about 362 billion in terms of market cap. Ethereum is, if I quickly jump to that here, let's scroll down. Ethereum is the all-time high was 4,800 US. It's currently trending at approximately 1275 or so, 1,300. So it just bumped up a bit, which is actually not bad. But this came down quite a bit from the all the speculation prior to the Ethereum Merge, and that was a lot to digest during that time, right? So that was a big hype. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Everybody was sort of waiting to see what happens, but it's always the case where it's buy the rumor, sell the news, right? Especially in this market. It's just so easy to get the hype going and everybody on board. Like, I was talking to a colleague, and the Bored Ape Yacht Club was a great example. All of a sudden you got huge players willing to spend 250, 400,000 just to buy a Bored Ape, right? Where's the Bored Ape right now? It's nowhere to be found, right? So anyways, it's for one Bored Ape, maybe it could be 100K US, maybe even less. I don't know. But it's been fun in this space, as long as you don't over leverage and don't over stress on the market. The market will do what the market needs to do to correct itself, to build up, and to bust down, basically. So take everything with a positive outlook, in that it's a great learning opportunity for everyone. This is information that we never had, 10 years ago, right? So we're looking at this now there's about 350 million people in crypto right now. A few short years ago, you were talking about 30 million, right? 60 million. So this is a huge jump to where it's at right now in comparison to where it was, right? So the adoption is happening, however, albeit slowly, but it will be, nonetheless, an adoption that's going to increase over time, right? So just wanted to reiterate that this is a new asset class being birthed, and it's only 5 years old, folks, right? So it's already commanding a lot of attention from governments around the world, from the elite, wealthy players around the world. It's commanding a lot of attention. And that's because we see the breakdown of the value of fiat money. And this was exacerbated by COVID-19 and the quantitative easing that occurred as a result of the lockdowns and the consistent lockdowns. And now the governments have built these lockdowns into their model. So although we see perhaps a 40-year high in inflation, which is staggering, right? No one, even the world's top economists, did not come on TV and say, hey, you know what, folks, we're going to see a 10-year high in inflation, right? What about that? What are you guys going to do for that? For that? What are the mitigations? What are the plans in place to alleviate that when it comes? Was there any talk of that? If you go back and look at the news, I don't think you're going to see any or much talk about how are we going to deal with this inflation due to the quantitative easing. There was a lot of complaints about quantitative easing and what it could do, but there was no trajectory saying, hey, you know what, we're gonna reach a 5-year high inflation. We're gonna reach a 10-year, much less 40 years. So you mean to say that so many specialized economists around the globe, and I did not hear one report saying, hey, watch out for the 10-year high inflation. That means that you and I have to do our own research. You and I have to take matters into our own hands and do our research to educate ourselves in this space and with current economics as well, right? And that goes to the young adults out there. It's time to actually, observe exactly what's been transpiring over the past, few centuries, decades nonetheless. But this, as we understand what occurred over the last few centuries, over the last few decades, the monetization, the power that goes into the backing of certain dollars, etc., right? The controls in place to maintain power, to understand what the definition of power is and what history has taught us about the world and the power struggles that it's endured, right, through different nations. And we break that down to a level of understanding where we see technology as it unfolds. We see technology changing lives, changing governments, changing enterprises, right? So we are on a very we're approaching a very crucible moment in time, is what I'm trying to say. That we've been calling for change in terms of people and society, right? Calling for change, calling for governmental involvement to lessen the burden for everyday folks, because things were getting difficult. Unemployment, as it seems, it was going well, but there's a lot of people that are unemployed, unskilled. And I don't see these folks, really getting back into the thick of things, right? So COVID-19 now came along and exacerbated a lot of the AI adoption, which we've seen today, right? It's so easy for us to take a photo and have AI do the edits and upload it, and we can literally save ourselves the middleman, right? So that's, if you look at blockchain, that's what blockchain is intending to do and is actually doing quite successfully in its current time. So we have a number of cryptos out there, namely, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Those are the two major cryptos out there right now. And the breakdown in price from these all-time highs are to be expected, because typically this is an extreme volatile class. It's not, not really meant for everyone until you understand how it works, right? And some of these cryptos has been around for a long time. So there's a lot to cover here, and that was literally just my on-the-fly type of intro. If we kind of zoom in here, prices in US dollars, it's 1,300. It actually went down to like 1,280, right? Okay, so here's a quick scan of the markets. Okay, so we've got about 18,800, right? So if we look at 2020, this is amazing. Like I'm literally saying, wow. Not too long ago, I recall 2020 in March, I think this is around here when it literally dipped. Yes, I recall that day very well. It was like hanging off of a cliff. So I think it was cruising along roughly $10,000, and then all of a sudden it just went straight downwards, right, to about $3,000. And that, if you took that point from that point and you said wow, that's a huge increase if one had bought during the bottom of that, right? I'll just give you an example. That's in a matter of a couple of months, you'd have made 75% on that. So that's amazing, right? So what we're looking at right now is the NASDAQ is literally the lowest it's been since November 2020. So whatever we're looking on screen is March 2020, Bitcoin dropping to that, bottom here, but it didn't take long to recover. We may still see at 18,000 US, we could still see a drop down to $12,000 very easily, especially after the midterm elections, right? Where you have, there's some hype going to go in, this is very volatile, so you never know what's going to happen. But a lot of thought is going into, well, we could see some further drawdown to 17,000, fluctuate around 15,000, stay there for maybe a month, maybe build back up to this 18,000, and then come November in the elections, the midterm, once that's completed, nothing else to look forward to except what's the economic outlook going to look like. We're going into December. We're going into a deeper winter. We're talking about energy costs right now. We're certainly witnessed the UK and Europe suffering from extremely high energy costs. There's blackouts, rolling blackouts across Europe as well as in the US. There's hurricanes that's, thrashing provinces here in Canada and some states in the US, as well as the Caribbean as well, right? So So the financial impact of these natural occurrences doesn't seem to slow down, right? And if in fact anything, we could see an increase in these sort of financial damages due to the nature of the beast, right? You know, Mother Nature. And at a time when the economy is very weakened, that can play even a more substantial impact on the sustenance of one, you know, of the said country, right? So what I'm trying to say is the macroeconomic outlook at this point in time is not favorable for pretty much any asset class right now, and we are in a downward move, a downward trend in terms of you know, the markets, the asset classes. You know, real estate pulled back, you know, 30-40%. Bitcoin pulled back about 70%, 75. It could pull back another, you know, if it goes to 12,000 US, which is not very far away, that'll make it 85% pullback, and then rebuilding its structure over the next, you know, once it bottoms out, that is, rebuilding into, you know, within the next 90 days of that bottoming, and then start moving perhaps or stabilizing and moving upwards, right? So that stabilization process is a very sideways, you know, it could take weeks, it could take months. What I do want to mention is that with the amount of quantitative easing that has been done, and hence the introduction of high interest rates pretty much since the beginning of the year, this is to curb everyone's habit of spend, right? Let's go borrow money. Let's put it on this. Let's put it on that visa. Let's go drive this car and, you know, get a loan. It's not going to be as easy to do all these things, right? So that means it's going to be more restricted, more restrictive processes, therefore slowing down the spend on products and services, right? And that's going to put more money in perhaps the pockets, because there's less spend, or you can't qualify for the loans, etc., because it's much more harder now, much more difficult to get these loans, right? The banks are tightening up, and it's riding out the storm. But that's the positive in this. It's a storm, and storm, you know, what happens to storms? They pass eventually, right? So there's been many sort of partial or deep recessions in the past. No one has really come out and say we are in a full-fledged recession. I haven't seen that, and we may not see that until after midterms. So this is a very crucial, pivotal time for the campaigns that's going out there. It's a lot of money involved, reputation as well, right? So keep that in mind. We could not possibly see a bottom until after the midterm election. And the way Bitcoin is looking right now, it's looking very, very weak. But this is a buying opportunity, because as I mentioned, look at the chart, right? This pretty much happened kind of fast, because this was here, you know, it was kind of going places, but then you had a world drawback. You know, this COVID-19 came out, and the world got spooked, right? There was cases going up, and every day you're hearing more and more, and then the lockdowns and the economical impact of those lockdowns, and you know, inquisitiveness of some to say, well, this can't be good, right? You know, production is going to be lost. So, you know, not thinking about 40-year high, you know, inflation, or not, we're not there yet at that point in time. But it was enough to drop the markets onto its knees, right? So that's exactly what happened. What happened though? It rebounded, just like the Nasdaq, just like the S&P, rebound and formed its you know, a solid base, a structure in which to move forward, right? So in this chart here, Bitcoin did some recovery, and then from May to maybe August, and then after August, it started increasing. So from August, September, just $1,000, I think, or $2,000, but that was significant at the time, right? If I had to check that out, what would that be like? 25%, not a bad thing. From July to August, okay, and then here comes September now. So September usually is always a bearish type of month, right? It just drops down, and towards the end of October and into November, typically the fourth quarter, we do see some type of movement upwards. Now, this is the 2020 chart, which is also the halving, right? So that's kind of why we see the shock starting to take place. The halving occurred in May, and the shock began about 6 months later. So the same thing we expect in 2024, right? In May 2024, when Bitcoin goes through its halving process, right? The rewards get cut in half. We won't see that shock right away, but we would see it in the 6 months after, 6 months post that Bitcoin halving, right? So then this is what the fourth quarter of 2024 could also look like. So right now, we are in a seemingly bearish market for crypto, and we did not have that blow off top that we were really expecting and anticipating in 2021. But in 2021, it was the talk of, Bitcoin's not climate efficient and blah, blah, blah. And, you had Elon Musk come and start talking about what about this and what about that. And everybody, I guess that was the blow off top. When you really look back in time, you say, wow, Bored Ape selling for 250 and 450. Yeah, something was wrong. We're at the top, right? Sell it, cash in your chips, sit back and wait 6 to 8 months, maybe a year, right? That should have been the thought process for many people, and it wasn't. So in this bear market, the reverse could be true in the sense that you're looking at Bitcoin $18,000 US, and the high was already broken and pretty much hit the 69,000 US target, right? So anytime Bitcoin had a all-time high, whether it be at 2 years or 5 years, it broke that all-time high again, right? So it's just a matter of time until boom, it just breaks that all-time high, and then we're off into uncharted territory. And people love to hear that. Wow, we are in uncharted territory, folks. Like the Enterprise, Star Trek, the Enterprise. So anyways, it's fascinating, right? When you're going at that rate of speed into the unknown, it could be really fascinating, right? So it is. What's fascinating to me right now is looking at $18,000 Bitcoin, because you get the opportunity to experience this. And as I mentioned, even if it goes down to 12,000, 10,000, wick down to 9 grand, like this is an asset class that BlackRock, who manages $10 trillion in asset management in value, 10 trillion US dollars in value, they manage that. They have said that they're going to partner and work with Coinbase so that they can, give their clients access to Bitcoin, right? So that's one very, very, very extremely positive news in this bear market. And excuse me, but this is really a telltale sign that there's more momentum that's going to be happening in this space, right? So this is an amazing type of wonderful news that we could not have, asked for anything better. So we see a lot of here it is going up at the top, 57, going down 35, and that was June 2021. Yeah, I recall that. Looking at this as a great buying opportunity as well, right? And it was. So, so going up to here, what is that? 55%. Might be a bit hard to see, but that's 55% from here at the bottom, where that was like pretty much June, right? June, July 2021 to November. So from June to November, 55%. That's not bad. And then November, the downward trend began. And we see 38,000 in February. So we saw that, big, it goes up, down, up, down. So here in February, we're like, okay, you know what? Fine. We settled it out a couple of months of downtrends. Let's hope for this one. Let's hope for that 55%, and off we go again. And the chariot has come to save the day. However, that did not happen. And what we did see, in fact, instead, was pretty much the drawdown, a further drawdown, mind you, of approximately 60%, right? From the top of this one here, the trend when it built back up. So that is, that's where we are right now, right? So this is just kind of like a zoom out. What did we experience? And, from, let's say, August 2020, right, to September 2022, only 2 years. This is what happened in 2 years. Extreme volatility. This is like, wow, roller coaster style. That happened in 2 years. We're going to have to wait another 2 years until the halving, or at least maybe a year and a half, but definitely 2 years until the effect of the, the third halving, or maybe that would be the fourth halving at that point. 12, 16, 2020, yeah, the fourth halving. So we're going to have to see that in 2 more years from now. But yeah, so what we could see is a bit of this, moving upwards, downwards, and 2024 comes, and this would be June, right? We could really see this thing fluctuate currently from the 18 going down, maybe down. Yeah, I don't know what, maybe down, 12,000, 17, 15,000, but fluctuate that, it could go back up. Some say, and there's some reports out there, it could go back up to the 30 to 40,000, right? So it could go this way and then break down again. Like, it'll take a while to build back up to 40,000, obviously, and then come back down. So this could be somewhere in 2023 where it goes down and then they sort of build back to 2040. The halving, maybe after the halving, it goes down a bit because nothing happens really. There's excitement. Yes, the halving, here it is, folks. Okay, now what? You don't feel that impact, the effect immediately, right? So something to note there. It takes about 6 months after the halving. So May is the halving in 2024. Towards the ending of 2024, Q3, Q4, start to pick up a little bit of momentum because now everyone realizes that supply has been cut in half. Your machines are going to have to work harder and much harder. But that's just a brief intro to like what we're going through right now, where we came from, and why are we here, right? So this drop down is certainly a hefty one right now. From April 2022, as I mentioned, all these things started happening, right? And it never seemed to get going fully. But anyways, Yeah, we do have some things here. Crypto currently, this is a good reminder. Crypto is currently following the stock markets, right? So we've always known crypto to be something different than the stock market, a trendsetter. But it's now more in line with the stock markets than it has been before. Coinciding with the Federal Reserve's rising of interest rates and basically tightening of some of their easy monetary policies that came out for COVID-19. So Jackson Hole, that was the meeting with Jerome Powell and their colleagues at the economic conference. I think that was in August, right? So a lot of people were hoping that they would make some dovish comments, which would lead us to believe that they might be done with the rate tightening cycle and bring out some positive news, especially because, there's a midterm election coming. You want to pose off like if, everything is, fine and dandy, but that was not the case. That was not the case. And in fact, I think they increased the interest rates probably about 2 times thereafter, right? So that was something that was not really welcome. Okay, so the sentiment is low. There's a myriad of problems. We're talking about inflation, Russia, Ukraine, supply chain issues. Underneath the surface is crypto. The things are very positive. So crypto is doing a lot of things. Like actually, there's a lot of people that donated to Ukraine in the form of crypto, and that helped them out greatly. A good analogy is the Great Financial Crisis. Imagine the top analysts out there are comparing this to the Great Financial Crisis, right? A lot of things coincide. So if you recall, during that period, markets were just awful for months. There's a tremendous amount of uncertainty towards the future. But during that time, there were a lot of great companies being built. If you include Airbnb, Uber, MailChimp, Groupon, Square, and WhatsApp, right? All this came out during that great financial crisis. So that was in 2008, I'm assuming, because these are relatively new. Collectively, these are worth hundreds of billions of dollars today, and they emerged during a terrible financial period. So the point I want to make here is, stay humble, stay steadfast, stay knowledgeable, stay educated in this space. There's lots to do, whether you're in the medical field, aviation field. Blockchain will be there to offer some type of service. And there's companies out there that's working on some projects, right? So you can even do that research and invest in those companies. There's a couple of companies, one I know for AI, a blockchain AI company working with doctors so that they can, support hospitals. You'll find these little projects, and it's amazing to think of how they intend to use a specific technology for their benefit, right? For the benefits of thousands and then eventually millions of people across the globe, right? So when designing a project, you're trying to create something. How can we solve a problem? So think of it from that vantage point, right? What problems are out there to solve? Because if we look at this here again, Airbnb, Uber, MailChimp, Groupon, Square, WhatsApp, they all solved the problem. They all solved a problem, and they all developed an app, right? Hey, you want to rent your room out? Sure, I got this app that I developed. It's called Airbnb, right? So you want to use it? Okay, all you have to do is sign up with your email, and that's it, right? You can now be a part of my community, our community, where we enlist, other properties, right? Who are willing to rent their rooms out or their whole houses out. And we all know how that evolved. Uber, right? Ride sharing, right? So that's about what, 10 years old, maybe, probably. And that was a thing. There was a lot of people upset about that, taxi drivers, right? But there's a need for both, if you go to a large concert or something like that, for example, there's thousands of people walking out at the same time. You're not really going to see an Uber. And it could be hard for you to, fetch an Uber at that point. But what you will see is probably a cab sitting there waiting. So I apologize for that. And underneath the surface, there's always going to be positive things going on. So the Ethereum merge, there's a lot of different phases, right? So that's important to note that there's a lot of different phases that comes with this merge. I may have to actually do this video as a part 1 and then come lay into this differently because this is going to be a long one. One of the benefits is that it saves a lot more energy, right? So it's going to be more energy efficient as a protocol itself. Layer 1 is it's going to compete with in terms of energy and the attention. It's going to compete very greatly in terms of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is being proof of work, and of course Ethereum is proof of stake. Two different types of architectures, right? And one is using proof of work versus proof of stake. The other two benefits reduce the issuance of ETH because all of these reward funds that are going to miners will cease. So yes, miners are no longer incurring profits from mining Ethereum. So all of a sudden, flip of a switch and they're out, right? 90%. And then when you combine that with the EIP 1559, which burns the majority of fees, we could potentially have a deflationary asset. So yeah, these things are not going to happen over time, but over the next 10 years, if you looked at Bitcoin over the last 10 years and look at the next 10 years, what could Ethereum do? Then that's your bet. For $1,300, think about it. One Ethereum, $1,300 in today's value. With the price of inflation and thinking of what inflation could be in the next 10 years, but through normal deflation, or through normal devaluing of the dollar, of fiat money, if you look at what the US dollar commanded for $1 back in the 50s versus now, it'll give you an example of what we could be in 10 years. So if you buy one ETH right now for $1,300, be prepared to keep that in a vault for the next 10 years. You could literally be, driving whatever you want in 10 years. Think about it from that perspective, right? This is a brand new asset class, and it's not going to go away. Ethereum, we're seeing that there are several phases into their new architecture. Whether they're looked at as a security or not by the SEC, that doesn't really matter, because give it 10 years, all they have to do is pay the fees, pay the piper, and that's it. Move on, right? you have a substantial platform in which Web3 dApps are being built on, right? So the other benefit is, let's see, we expect yields to go up, not only, yeah, so I think they're talking about staking on ETH. All right, this is coming from top analysts, folks, right? Ethereum, pending this article was before the merge. Pending a successful completion of the merge, Ethereum is going to be one of the top premium crypto assets out there. It's going to be ESG friendly with its low energy consumption. It's potentially going to be deflationary. And so we know that Bitcoin is absolutely deflationary. Now they're saying Ethereum could potentially be going deflationary, but yeah, over the long term, right? I'm giving it this a 10-year thing. And you're going to be able to yield 5% roughly, and potentially much more than that, right? So yeah, if the merge is successful, which it was, it's going to give a lot of credence to the Ethereum project. And for many investors that are on the sidelines, I think this could be tip the scales in terms of investing cryptocurrencies and right? So the other things is called, let's talk about a couple of picks that are going to benefit from the merge. Not going to just be Ethereum. The graph, GRT, that's about 9 cents right now. I think that was like $3 if I'm not mistaken, but yawning away here. It's like 1:30 in the morning. I really do overwork, but anyways, I'm trying to provide little by little some content for everyone, and it's sometimes lengthy, so I do apologize. I do other projects as well, but I think it's important for me to just come on here and just lay it out all in the open and say, look, here's real talk. This is what people are saying, that not people, but this is what the top analysts are saying, right? This is what their research is telling them about, because they have their analysts that go out there and dig deep for these information, and I am a subscriber of them, and I pay top dollar to get knowledge, right? So that I know what's going on for myself, right? For my own life. And how could I be more successful, right? But my intent is to share this. So I understand that the world is going through a crazy time, and there's people out there that's looking for some solid reps with information. I go on YouTube all the time and I look at people's videos, learning about different things. So why not step up and share this with humanity, right? As part of being, you look at it as charity, right? So the graph recently completed their wage 6 of grants. So there's nearly 1 million in grant money. I forgot about this. I did read this a few weeks ago and I forgot. But so yes, they're 9 cents right now. And what this is telling me that they got 1 million in grant money. Mizari, the Bloomberg of crypto, yeah, that's a huge company in crypto, become one of their first core subscribers, subgraph developer on the graph. Standardize the process of creating subgraphs. So once Mizari helps them standardize the process of creating subgraphs, it'll make it much easier. Now, what is subgraphs, you might be asking? That's actually like, think of it like Google. Hey, you want to search for something? Go on Google. That's it. What was the original search engines out there, right? They had, Yahoo, and a few others. Now there's like, Google, Bing. Those are two big ones, and there's a few more. But anyways, think of the graph like Google. So the graph is going to help you search all through Web3. That's indexing. That's huge. That's like investing in Google in 1998. It's 10 cents. It's 9 cents right now. They've just partnered with the Bloomberg of crypto, which is called Mazari, huge company. They got $1 million in grant. Great. We're going to need layers like, let's go back up here. Yeah, so another project is Matic. Disney has recently partnered or endorsed Matic, right? This is, of course, a layer 2 solution on top of Ethereum. You may be worried what happens to stuff like layer 2s after the merge. It's going to take a long time before Ethereum ultimately scales to its full vision. As I mentioned, the 10-year plan. If I buy Ethereum right now, all I have to do is, let the game come to us. You buy in right now, not financial advice. And then guess what? You just wait, you let time do the heavy lifting, right? So Ethereum is a layer 1 and Polygon Matic is layer 2. Polygon from what is already a POS. So it's a win-win, right? But it wouldn't automatically make Polygon, more energy efficient, but it's just now they're both energy efficient, which is great. Long term, right? Okay, so Polygon had 1,900 dApps on the platform. Recently, they reported it's up to 37,000. 12,000 monthly active developer teams working on Polygon. These numbers are just amazing. Continue to grow. Another project is Aave, DeFi platform for lending and borrowing crypto. One of the biggest DeFi projects in existence, consistently in the top 5. One thing I was impressed was during the crypto winter, these DeFi protocols didn't really have any problems. They performed exactly how they were supposed to in terms of processing liquidations and things of that nature. So this DeFi is really, really good. I think it's the companies like Celsius, not the actual DeFi technology, but the companies, they're the ones to look out for, be aware of. Okay, so Aave is on Polygon. Yeah, so Aave is doing really good stuff with DeFi, and they're expanding their ecosystem to sort of partner or be compatible with these other ones, right? Oh yes, they're going to create their own stable coin. I don't even know what the price of Aave could be right now. Link is another one. Oh, look at that. Link is just doing phenomenal. If this hits $5, I'm jumping in. But anyways, BCH, 113 bucks. Everything is following Bitcoin right now, no matter how great the project is. So we need to see some decoupling. First of all, decoupling from the crypto market, from the NASDAQ and the S&P, right? And before we can look at how this is going to decouple within the crypto, or merge, right? So Cardano has forks on their blockchain, and typically that's looked at as positive, right? The community is together on, yes, we want to create our different flavor of, like, like your Unix, Linux, but we're still together. With Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, it was just like, no, I'm going to create my own. You stay on your side, I'll stay on my side. And that was it. Done. They don't talk to each other. They hate each other. That's we're going to have to grow past that. And what's going to, like, Bitcoin Cash has very, excellent capabilities, some of which this technology could just literally help out Bitcoin. So I don't know if we're going to see some type of merge in the future, but holding Bitcoin Cash is just that little lottery ticket. You just never know, right? You just never know, right? So why not, right? Mana, sand. Okay, so yeah, one of my mentors was actually going back into sand. Now, if you look at this metaverse for the 2-year plan, Sandbox. So Sandbox got a lot of notoriety and attention. Data is a pretty good one. Terra Classic, and who knows where that's going. Here's Aave right here. So Aave is $73. Just going to click on that. Let's see what this brings up. Oh, wow. $500. Aave. Wow, I remember that. Imagine if you bought there and yeah, if you buy some Aave right now, what is it? It's not bad. June 2022, what month are we in? September. So April, it was like $173. $60. So you know what, Aave, and then let's go back to the report. Yeah, so they're creating a stable coin. The stable coin market is still a 150 billion market, even though we're in the middle of the crypto winter. This is going to be a big opportunity. It's been passed by the community and they're just working on the initial launch now. We should see talking about it. Okay. API 3. So API 3, solving the API connectivity. So APIs is basically software that connects the applications together so that they can exchange information. It's often referred to as the glue of the internet. It's very important technology that's under the hood. Connects applications together. Yes. So for one application to talk to the other, you need to understand what is the API. So I need to know the API of that application. So these two applications can talk to each other, right? That's what's happening today. So API 3 is going to be that for the blockchain, right? In Web 2, all the companies out there have APIs, but using them for Web 3 applications is very difficult. Right now, that's because the crypto aspect of it, right? API 3 solved that problem. They have a technology called AirNode that basically allows a Web 2 company to take their API, essentially create decentralized API through their AirNode technology, and then be able to serve that data into Web 3 applications. So that's a very important infrastructure piece, and this is the bet that they're proposing to take, that this is going to be a very much a demand company. Recently, they've expanded past Ethereum. They've also on Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, and RSK. RSK is a Bitcoin smart contract platform. I did not know that. Okay. They also continue to expand their partnerships, long-term goals, build up the API 3 marketplace where projects can come and buy, sell their data. This will be a starting point for monetizing of API 3 and the services. So great. That's enough out of me for today, folks. It's very unclear what the future holds for the markets. How long will the Fed keep rising rates? Are we going to see in a recession? questions like that continue to dominate the news cycle, but underneath crypto, things are remain positive. So now's a great time. You know, if you hold capital, add to your positions, keep staking. This is something I myself want to get into more. There's a lot of platforms that make it really easy. All you have to do is buy the crypto and click the button stake, and that's it. But I need to understand what are the great platforms out there, the best platforms for doing staking. So if time permits, maybe I'll delve into that. As we're going into winter, maybe I can try to organize my time to see if I can just, you know, hop in with a different subject every week or a couple times a week. But that's it. You know, just wanted to give you guys a quick rundown of what's going on. What is this I have here? You know, here's something. Today, Amazon is one of the most dominant companies in the world at a 1.7 trillion market cap. 1.7 trillion. That's, yeah. It's the fifth largest company in the world behind Apple, Microsoft, Google, and Saudi Aramco, the oil company. Wow. So this report thinks that Jeff Bezos is going to go for 4 trillion. Imagine some of those projects that I mentioned, the graph. Imagine investing that, you know, for 9 cents, 10 cents right now. Wait 25 years, who knows, right? I mean, if they are intending to be the Google of the blockchain, Web3, it could certainly take about 25 years for everything to come to fruition. And the same thing could happen, right? If you had told me back in 2000, 2003, hey, you know what, you know, dump a few money in this. No, my mind was just, I was younger, so I was thinking different things. I was not thinking about this. And look how long it took, because this is the technology. This is the cutting edge back then. Cutting edge technology. We're Amazon. We're selling books. We're selling products. We're selling this. We're selling that. You know, hurricanes came through in 2005. It didn't matter. You know, they were still not doing really well, but selling some stuff. All of a sudden, this is what happens, right? Technology got better. You know, computing power started getting better. So they had that vision, they utilized at the point in time the best that was out there. But as computing power decided to grow, their analytics and big data was a big thing in 2015, I recall. Big data, you know, and the analytics of, you know, how the hell are you going to see through the data, capture the data, see what's in it, right? And then boom, it just skyrocketed. Okay, so warrants. Um, hmm. This is really, oh yes. Okay, so Amazon, if you get into some projects at an early stage, you have the option to exercise your warrants on that, but there could be expiry dates on that. So that's something to be aware of. You can't come 10 years, 20 years later and be like, hey, I just want to buy it for $91. So, um, but yeah, a few years, sure. You know, like 2019 is not that far off, right? 2019, 2020, 21, 22. So 2, 3 years, you invested in a company, you know, sure. Time is money, and we want to get a free ride on the cheap. Okay. Amazon signed up a company with the electric. Lion Electric. Hmm. Wow. Look at all these research. I can't even read all this stuff. Hmm. Lion has an order backlog of 817 vehicles. It pays to know. You know, they don't tell you this on CNN. They don't tell you this on, NBC. You know, these are, you have to go out there and do your own research. You got to pay people and subscribe to top companies out there that does these type of research, right? Like I never even look how small the name is. I know the yellow bus. I don't know what company owns them. So imagine school buses being part of this electrified ecosystem. So, and another subject, that's like that's another thing too, right? EVs are just going to be, we need them for a lot of different things, right? Instead of these trucks burning so much, like, you know, they're not as efficient as the cars that you and I drive. So, okay. Hmm. Speculations are not for the rent money. So yeah, these are they do. This is a lot of speculation, but I like the information that they provide, right? The deep research. Anyways, this is a little bit off topic. Um, this one, lessons in crowd psychology as the recession deepens. Wow. Okay. So yeah, you can. I'll scroll through, and you can pause the video because I wouldn't have time to read through all this. But the Nasdaq is at the lowest since it was like at 2020 November. This is March, and that would be November. So yeah, we just hit the low of like literally November 2020. Look at that chart. That's crazy. Hmm. Okay, so this guy is kind of saying, well, it's bad news for buy the dip investors. Okay. Okay. The lag between tightening liquidity and the ultimate downturn in corporate profits is where we are. Oh, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Sorry, folks. Hmm. I remember globalization. Technology overvaluation. Hmm. Yeah. Pakistan facing political protests, and unions are striking in Belgium. Railway workers are striking in the UK. Indigenous groups are protesting in Ecuador. I had no idea, folks. I had no idea. And I'm sure I probably got this maybe recently. But this is phenomenal, right? I don't know if I see this type of stuff on YouTube. I'm not bragging or anything, but this is really in depth, and I'm just happy to just be here, just even with my tired self. Just I'll get better at putting up maybe more exciting stuff. But anyways, like if you just be patient, hopefully, and just kind of check it out. I think this is phenomenal. Yes, the US dollar, thanks for reminding me. The US dollar is just going on a tear right now. So it's going crazy. It's just like just up and left, right? That's good for the US, but it's bad for everybody else. It's gonna cost more money for people to operate, right? Countries who rely on, doing business with the US, they're gonna be like, they're gonna feel the pinch, right? Canada definitely one of them. That's why I'm hoping that in 2023, riskier assets such as Bitcoin starts to wake up and people start to say, hey, you know what? That's hard money. That's hard money. Why are you going to invest in fiat money backed by nothing? literally. Invest in Bitcoins, right? Not financial advice, but that's what's got Bitcoin from 10 cents to, you know, almost 20 grand today in a 10-year period. I can go back and say, I wish I bought Bitcoin, but maybe Ethereum might be my opportunity, right? For long term. Yes, this is another one. China's property prices are falling. They have a real deep economic real estate problem there. It's keeping a lid on gold prices for now, because gold seemed to be, you know, stabilizing and in fact maybe downward in comparison to US, right? But it's a significant headwind for the rest of the world, meaning it's bad news when the US dollar starts tearing away like that, right? But in terms of Bitcoin and how Bitcoin maxis and stuff saw Bitcoin, Bitcoin was this hard money that was created for the world, right? And the last thing to fall was the strongest of them all. And right now, what I'm seeing is the US dollar being the strongest of them all could be the last to fall, right? But you need to give it time, right? We don't know. Let's see what these rate hikes do over the course of the next 6 to 8 months, 12 months, 18 months, right? And then the repercussions of that, right? It would probably lead to further quantitative easing and tightening. And this is where, you know, we have to, as investors, you have to look for opportunities between to see how you're going to sustain your family, right? Okay, so Chinese property developers are defaulting on their US dollar debt. That could cause significant issues for the US and European investors who lent them money, yeah. Banking stocks, but it will also be so okay. So yeah, the next 2, 3 years it's crazy. A recession is only getting started, and people are complaining like seriously. I feel it too, and it's only just getting started. Wow. But as I mentioned, Bitcoin and Nasdaq and everything is following you know the macroeconomics. So if if everything else is going to bottom out yet, we're just getting into the recession. We're not really into it. You know, 6 months from now could be a different story. That's when you know you can also see the Bitcoin bottom out, right? After the midterm election, November, December, January, February, those months we could see you know some bottoming movement and sideways action from Bitcoin as well. So rough year, but you know, 2023, enjoy it for what it is, and stay healthy. Take your vitamins. Yeah. Like I just mentioned, hey, you know what? The Fed might have no choice but to print. What if they actually don't? Who knows, right? Anyways, this is just halfway into the article. Franco Nevada. Yes. All right. Okay, just to cap off here. No. Where is it? DXY. Wow. This is the US dollar currency. So the trajectory, when was that? Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Wow, the US dollar was that high. So this is extremely really worrisome. Now, what is the trajectory? Okay, right now it just took off. Like if you look at 2020, we are in 2022. Right? We were here. It just got up to here. You know, and 2023, 2024. Remember what I said, it's going to be, you know, the last of them all. So US dollar will be, you know, proposing to go this high, but it all depends, right? If anything happens that, you know, Bitcoin is going to be growing as well. Bitcoin in 2028, it's going to have another halving. So you like 2029 to 2030 should be very interesting. You know, both Bitcoin and US dollar could be very high at that point, right? It takes time for all these things to unfold and develop, but you're going to be looking at some interesting playouts here. Yeah, so US dollar right now seems like the safe haven for everyone. Fake out XRP, drop down. $85, February 02. Oh, yeah, this is the, yeah, boom. Expect the dollar to dump hard. Yeah, I would concur, but then maybe not. Here's the one I wanted to share. The Great Depression, 1929 to 1939. Current times. This is, yeah, well, that's, you know, some food for thought, right? Market moves in cycles. So, you know, it might have hard times. Ethereum to $1,000. Right now it's about $1,300. Yeah, which is, you know, further downside would be, see that down, you know, but again, you're looking at the long run, right? We have this cutting edge technology. This is another chart from the 1300 that we are currently at, but at 28th, so give it another week or so. As I mentioned, you know, could have another drop, and then maybe by the end of October, going into November, it'll start increasing again, and then maybe another drop after the midterm elections. Ripple seems to be doing some decent things, so stabilizing finally. I wish I had gotten into that when it was a bit lower in the 30-cent range, but I kind of missed out on that. And yeah, that's it. So anyways, folks, take care. I think my battery is going to cut off again. I need to find that external power supply, but this was just like a raw, 2-hour kind of meeting. I wanted to discuss a lot of things that was on my mind, that information that I get. I wanted to share that with you guys, and keep the faith. It's going to be a very interesting time right now, going forward. So just keep your eyes and ears peeled for any new information out there. Take things from the media with a grain of salt. Sometimes, like, do your own research. This is not financial advice. This is just me being tired on the Sunday night, trying to give you guys some information that I've been seeing and monitoring, and I give tidbits here and there, but it's really a lot of material to go through. It's like almost like taking a real university course here. So I'm not sure if you were able to absorb all that, but I hope you enjoyed it. And that's it. There's so much to discuss in the crypto land, the cryptoverse. There's so many things happening. This is a bear market where projects and companies actually do a lot of, development, right? So they do key development, and they look to put plans in place for the future. So this is why I just wanted to sort of get everyone's thought process in terms of how companies think and what they're doing, and they're planting the seeds right now for the next 5-10 years, how they're going to protect their businesses. As one article mentioned, most of these companies that became billion-dollar companies, really, it was attributed to the 4G, right? So moving from 3G to 4G. So piggybacking off of the quality of technology being made available, and now making sure that they incorporate that within their architecture, within their enterprise. And that's it, right? Riding the wave. Now, according to that article there, it says maybe it could be almost, not as easy, if you will, right? So let's see, time will tell, right? But stay tuned for more. As I get some updates, I'll try to put together something. And that's it. Peace, love, happiness, and an abundance of joy for everyone. Thank you.